We were contacted by Guinness World Records when they heard about Cuphead. We came to have 3 records. The best one is the most hand-drawn frames of animation in a video game. It'll be over 45,000 frames. The most boss battles in a run-and-gun shoot-'em-up, and the most boss transformations in a run-and-gun shoot-'em-up. This record used to be held by
Contra
Hardcore,
I think.
And our goal when we started was, let's defeat Contra Hardcore, or hopefully.
I'm almost dead.
Okay, so Jared's not very good at playing the game. He just designed almost all of it.
Oh.
This game's unfair and a little bit too hard.
Cuphead at its core is just, as gameplay, I would just refer to it as Contra. For people who don't know what Contra is, I just refer to it as Mario, except for you can aim a gun in 8 directions.
This is just a very light port of an old Sega arcade game. There's influence from this game into Cuphead. There was going to be a part where you had to jump over pigs. Guess where we were influenced from that. My brother and I wanted to make games, so we've always talked about it our whole life. We were raised on a Sega Master System. We played NES, Super NES, Genesis, all the way up to the 32-bit era. Whenever we got together, we would play games and pick at them and question why certain design decisions were made. So we had training by ourselves, but no actual formal game training. And we just talked about it and eventually kind of came to the conclusion that we want to make a console game.
It's all kind of back to indie games appearing and having Super Meat Boy and
Braid coming out.
Yeah.
Before we ever thought we had a real chance at maybe making a game that we could finish.
I don't think it was ever the goal to be like, this is a family project. A portion of it is actually just budgetary. So it's like, who can you convince to do it for nothing?
Well, and then pulling you away from the corporate world.
The hardest convincing. 10 seconds.
If you wake up every day and it's somewhat boring, you'll eventually give up. We would wake up, have breakfast, and already start engaging. Okay, so you're gonna finish that set. I'm gonna, speak to the animators today about getting these certain things done, jump on a call with Jared for 3 hours to hash out a bunch of stuff, and then just keep going. We grew up watching old cartoons. When it came to finding what kind of game and what kind of style we wanted to do, we grasped on our favorites.
You couldn't unsee it after we saw it. It was just, this is gonna be really hard to pull off, but we had to do it.
Mm-hmm. Cuphead came about because of too many iterations. When you keep drawing the character ideas and it gets late into the night, you start just doing random, weird things.
You're working all day at your day jobs. You have a family, like a very little, tiny, newborn baby. So your mind goes to places you didn't even know existed, and I think that's where it was born.
It was a passion project that took a little bit longer than I thought, but through all the hecticness, I think my brain just shut down, and I've time warped 5 years.
I don't think we would have been able to put the hours and the effort that we did into it unless it was purely a labor of love.
Had to get it done. Got it done. Don't ever want to work that hard again,
No.
But it's complete.
Yes. I assumed with the original small game idea that we had that I would be doing everything related to art. And then one day she came in while I was inking and she said, I should give this a try. And I was like, of course, sit down.
Well, first he laughed and was
I
like,
didn't
I
laugh.
guess.
And her first try, like just a quick try, murdered anything that I was attempting.
When we first landed on this art style, something just didn't look right until we finally said, okay, you know what? If we want it to look like the 1930s, we have to do it the 1930s way. In this case, we are inking Ms. Chalice and her idol. That's going to be happening in the DLC. And so the animators will send over a file with all of the frames. We will end up getting a whole idol done in pencil form. I'll take this file, import it into Photoshop, I'll splice it up, print this, ink it, scan it back in afterward to our digital coloring artist, and he will go through and color each frame and have our final product of colored Miss Chalice doing her idol.
I was doing the idol.
We are back where Cuphead was actually made in our OG location. We came back to look at all the inks and very early sketches.
Just to save time on inking and scanning, we always put as many as we can on each frame. And then we also have this complete stack. There's some here, more that we've started to put away.
Plus, this is a sample portion
Yes.
compared to
Yeah,
like
there's, like,
the entire
4 big
team.
ones.
We don't have all of theirs either, so
If that stack is about this high off the ground of inks, you probably need 10-foot high stack of paper for all of the animation in the game. Everything in the game is a physical object.
This is the model that was used for Grim Matchstick, and it's the thing you see rotating in the background. My job at the studio was to kind of figure out all the physical little things the game needed. So this book is the book that was used in the opening of the game. It was all just shot, live action, so as the whole story printed in it, we just kind of flipped through it page by page. I had to teach myself how to bookbind in order to make this thing. It's all been carefully carved out and painted by hand. This is the maquette that was used for Jimmy the Great level, and the whole thing is just carved and covered in glue and sand.
We hire people that love what they're doing, and in turn, those type of people kind of align with how we feel about life and making games and humor and all of that stuff.
The entire company is just one big extended family. We're just in sync.
Got it.
Did you beat him?
Yeah.
Okay, keep pushing the button.
this is a perfect example of how we were when we were younger.
I feel like it's almost a sibling to them.
The amount of time you put into it is very similar to raising a child, if not more, sadly.
But it really does feel like Cuphead and Mugman are children to us.
And you're a creep. People haven't pulled any references out of this yet.
You're fighting the giant monkey,
Oh, yeah.
but then you have the Godzilla type and the giant werewolf, which is, I thought somebody would have picked up on Rampage by now.
It was definitely like a learning process to learn the 1930s style. I think I've done about at least 30 backgrounds for Cuphead. DLC we shall see. Chad will send me what he's looking for a background, what the boss is and what style it is and setting and everything. From there, I would come up with some roughs. I'd do research on like what 1930s examples of that kind of background there are already, and then paint it. Most backgrounds are 7 to 11 layers. Each boss background would take about a week on average. For the run and gun levels, that's more like a month.
This is even earlier than Cuphead. Jared and I were first talking about making this super tiny game, maybe only 5 to 8 bosses. You can see a flower here existed way back. This is probably 2 years before we ever even got the idea to make a game. But if we go into these glorious books, tons of figuring out what Cuphead's essence is. This is the first real birth of Mugman right here. These are all excellent memories too. This is an early slime idea of what the background's gonna look like with the large slime. It turned out almost identical. Early pirate. Doesn't look exactly like this, but it's very close. This feels like a really warm memories, like super warm memories.
Yeah, like I miss it.
See? Maya loves it more than me.
There's just like so many memories of being in here for like 3 years straight. And like wondering how is it gonna turn out, what's gonna happen. I'm sorry.
Maybe you fed your babies right
I
here
literally
while
did.
inking.
The day after Hans was born. I mean, in
Right.
hindsight, how did we pull off those hours with no sleep? But in the moment, it was just survival. Like you gotta get up, you gotta work. Literally 3 full years.
Working 24 hours a day.
I think sometimes we romance it and be like, this is just a passion project and whatever happens, happened. But there was the reality at the end of the day that it could totally flop.
Hi, I'm Chad from Studio MDHR, and this is my brother Jared. We are excited to give everyone a quick peek into the world of Cuphead.
I don't think it went one way or the other when Xbox came into the picture. We still had autonomy of the direction of basically everything in it.
It was nice to have a corporation tell us, like, hey, you guys have something here.
People always ask us, how did it feel when you launched the game? Like, was it this moment that you've been driving towards? And it's almost anticlimactic. It really is about the journey and not the end destination.
Amazing to see everything coming together, extreme long hours that no human should do, mixed with constantly seeing the game evolve and grow. And we all talk about the next projects we're working on in the exact same way that we started. That we don't have this oh, now we're this big company that still only make a game we love and everything else could just fall to the wayside.
Visually, I think this is my favorite boss.
For real?
Yeah.
And why haven't people figured out some of the stuff that's in your background, which we won't tell?
So I'm just really loving what we do. And the ideas that we have for the next game are pretty epic.
And
Song. Sing?
scene.
Scene.
Song. Okay.
And song.
And song.